This was exactly what made me not pay much attention to this type of car. I think I regret buying this car, you know? Do you think I'll get so hooked that I won't want other vehicles, bro? Has it really gotten that serious? I didn't realize it was so addictive. Better save it and ride in the Dodge. Damn, Dodge is my favorite baby. Poor thing got too small for him, huh? Watch this video if you follow Pingando Olio and comment below. What would you do, first of all, with the changes that are needed here? What would you do, first of all, to improve the car's appearance, both visually and mechanically? Please comment down below. Look, here's the thing. The average speed is right there. 100, 110 or more kilometers per hour. I don't know what could happen, no. I didn't feel very confident, no. Demetrio told me this several times, and that's exactly how it is, right? It's the Y block for trucks. So it's a lot of power. It has power, but it really doesn't have much revolutions per minute. So it's low revolutions per minute, it's power, it's weight. He won't take any disrespect, but he also won't go super fast. I just don't know why it shows 200 kilometers per hour on the speedometer there, you know? So it's all good, it's nice. It's good to drive on the road, you know, like I said, but honestly, at high speeds, it's not really going to go much faster than that. Another cool thing about this engine block is that it's big and heavy. So the sound of this engine is really beautiful. Everyone says that the sound of the 292 engines is really beautiful, and it really is. We've already heard this engine idling in the pickup trucks. It's really beautiful, right? The way it rumbles, that blub, 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 it's amazing. But in this case, I decided to keep the car quiet. It was my wish to have a classic car that was quiet, that didn't have a sports muffler, that didn't make noise when I started it or when I accelerated. And I'll tell you, I'm very satisfied. It's really nice. Is age definitely catching up with me? I love the Flowmaster on the Dodge. I'm eager to set up something nice and similar on the F100 also with the 302. It's almost a crime not to let this thing roar because it's one of the most beautiful V8 sounds in the world, right? On this 292 block, but I'm going to keep it like this. I'm going to keep it like this. It's nice, it's quiet, it's good to drive. You don't get that resonance inside the car. I thought it was really nice. Speaking of resonance, yeah, I think a lot of people will think it's unnecessary, but a car like this with air conditioning is cool. You know why? Because when it's hot, like today, you have to drive with the windows open to get some air. And then even more so when you need to speed up, yeah, there's a lot of wind. And it makes everything inside the car resonate even more as things fly around. Plenty of wind and drafts. And air conditioning isn't just for comfort, it would also make the car more closed off, more isolated with less air circulating. So that's something I really want, to have a classic car with air conditioning. And look, now we're talking like a real hippie talk.
Esoteric.
Man, something happened yesterday that's unbelievable. I was driving at 100 kilometers per hour from Campinas. In São Paulo, my dad rode up on his motorcycle and said, "There's traffic ahead, I'm heading home, you continue from here." Man, when I got to São Paulo, I ended up on Marginal Tietê. The planets aligned, all the zodiac signs said, "Man, what a cool guy, let him through." There was no traffic at all, none, nothing, zero traffic. I arrived with my dad on a motorcycle at the same time. It was great arriving in São Paulo, being welcomed on Marginal Pinheiros and Tietê with no traffic at all, driving at a nice speed there with the car. Man, what a feeling. I better stop this video or it's gonna get too boring. Oh, just one more thing. Yesterday, right when I got home and finally calmed down, I went to check what was going on. There was a video of Anderson Dick with Felipe Andres Landau blower on the dynamometer, the car he took from Brazil to the United States. And Nadal Raridades with posts on Instagram saying this car is amazing, it's the best car Brazil has ever had. And me, with all this feeling of finally getting this car in my hands, it was a really crazy day for me. What an unforgettable day. This gearbox here, I was really curious to have it in my hands like this, you know? I've never had a car with this. I think it's the coolest thing in the world. An old car with this, I would never switch the gear shift to the floor. And wow, it's been really fun enjoying and discovering this here. Man, it's not even been 24 hours since the car has been... It's at home. The thing is to get a little tired of it. Put it away. When we stop missing it, we use it a little more. Very cool. Very tasty. This is an amazing experience, man. Look, it was this look right here. This is what kept me away from these cars for so long. For years, this is exactly what made me not pay much attention to this type of car. Yeah, it wasn't the car that came to me, it was age that caught up with me. Because this old man look was the style that ended up winning me over the years. I always thought it was an old man's car, so I never even considered it. And suddenly, the tables turned. And here it is, the purebred old man's car. For me, who changed my mind so quickly? So man, I even suggest you do the same. Change your opinions over time as you get older, as we mature. That's exactly what happened to me. I bought the car, I bought the Cooper Cobras. Halfway through, I said, no, wait a minute. Why Cooper Cobra? I want those hubcaps. I want white walls. I want what I see out there. I want one worthy of an old man's car. And let me tell you, this old man's car thing is a bit subjective, right? Because, man, here, despite the looks, it doesn't matter if it's an old man's car or not. If you're an old man or not, if your spirit is young or old. I followed my intuition, had this chat with Demetrio, with Jenny over at Z28. And we came to the conclusion that it would be a good idea to keep its original look. And I'll tell you, I don't regret it. I think it looks amazing. No, I don't know. I was surprised that I even wanted to. That I changed my mind. That I wanted to have an old man's car like this. Not long ago, I didn't have a huge desire to have this car. And that feeling just started growing, you know? I started developing a taste for it. I always preferred the Galaxie line with upright headlights. You know, so it started to become this huge desire. And when I was a kid, when my dad had a car like this, I remember, of course, when you're younger, the scale of things feels different. The back seat for me was such a huge thing that we used to roll around here, play, go from one side to the other, and there was still space left over. That was one of the freshest memories I had of this type of car. The ride, we know it's comfortable. Even as a kid, you remember how good this car is to ride in, but you don't think about it at the time. It just doesn't stick with you. You sense it's there, but don't know what it is. And some time ago, Demetrio gave me a car like this to drive in Campinas. He said, man, drive this car so you can feel it. And I don't remember having driven a Landau before. I think that's what happened. It was last year or the year before. When I started driving, here you hold the steering wheel with your fingertips and you make minimal adjustments, like micro adjustments, so the car stays on the track. I said, man, is this really it? Is it really like this? Is everyone like this? He said, the cars in the original are like this. Of course, some that have already been completely taken apart might be a little bit, might be stiffer, but basically, this is how the car is. Man, that devastated me. I even said in some videos, everyone should have a car like this at least once in their life. And I started to see this differently. Of course, I wish it was a two-door like the Americans have over there, but from that point on, I didn't even care anymore about what would come if I would buy one, if I would have one of these. And man, and there was something else too. The desire to have the shifter on the column, the bench seat. So then I said, man, I'm going to have to go with our domestic cars, four doors anyway. Big, that flashy thing, right? It's a gigantic thing. Nowadays, you don't see that on the streets anymore, right? It's quite a classic. And the craziest thing is that back then too, that was also shocking because Brazil didn't have this here. There were no cars of this standard, of this size, with this ergonomics. There was nothing comfortable about it. That's why even today, this is what it is. It's a milestone in our history and our industry. And man, it's the drivability, the comfort of this thing is superior to a lot of things from any era you can imagine. And here, I was lucky to have chosen a car with this pedigree, a car that was never completely taken apart. It had a paint job that wasn't well done, right? That's the negative part of the car. It could have been an extremely original car, still with the original paint, even if it was a bit faded, you know? It's the same thing with the Bel Air. It also had a bad paint job, but that's okay. Where we really won was with the car structure. The car was preserved, you know? It spent many years parked in a building's garage, so it kept its comfort. So we went there and replaced everything in the suspension, did a mechanical checkup on the engine as much as possible, kept the original carburetor. So after we did this suspension overhaul, now with the car ready, I could finally enjoy what I bought back in April or May, right? Only now that I get to drive it and understand how amazing this thing is. Yesterday, bringing it from Campinas, we went to pick it up. My dad and I went by motorcycle to get it. And man, it was amazing driving it back. It's so different from the Dodge, so different from other classic cars. There was nothing like it. Everybody says that, right? That there was nothing like it in terms of comfort back then in our national industry. No, this door panel is awful. I wanted to rip this out because this was criminal. It's impressive how much superior a 1969 car is compared to a Gol. Is it the Gol? I think it's a 2008. The suspension on this thing is impressive. It's way superior, like really way superior. Gutter, speed bump, bumpy road, road reflectors, everything. You don't even feel it. It's really crazy. I never would have imagined, I did imagine. Deep down, I knew it would be like this. We've already seen many pickup trucks with Galaxie suspension, Landau. Right, I had already driven it, but until you actually get in and drive it yourself and think, man, is this really it? When you go for a drive, it's really crazy. What engineering development of engineering that these guys achieved. Offered this to the people in '69. What cars were used in Brazil? In '66 or '67? Only junk cars, huh? Tough luck. The street here isn't the best and you don't feel a thing. What were you guys driving in '68, '69? Older folks, right there. Look at that. I'm only going home for lunch, otherwise I'd stay out. One thing, subscribe here to Pingando Audio and turn on notifications because YouTube itself said it's not able to deliver all the videos. Please do that. Subscribe here, turn on notifications, because now we're going after F100. Picture the F100 with Demetrio. So cool, it's going to be awesome. They asked me on Instagram if I would do it, if I would lower it. They asked this funny question. And what about that social fall? Isn't it happening? Which is lowering the car just a little bit, just enough to be socially acceptable. I'm not going to mess with that for now, and I don't think I'll change it anymore because I think this height is pretty well balanced. I think it's similar to the original, maybe just a little lower, so I don't think I would change it, you know? I think it's going to stay like this because to change it would involve even more work over there with Demetrio, more things. It would change very little. It's good like this, it's incredibly nice to use, so it's something I wouldn't change. Before you guys here in the comments ask what's wrong with the car, yes, now I'm aware of everything that's different about it, right? The grille, trim seat missing some emblems. At some point, of course, I'll get that sorted out, but for now, let's use it. Even because to change the seat, to do those things, I'll have to park the car for a while, right? I think we should use it now to better understand what could have problems, changes, things we need to do so that later we can stop, maybe all at once, and do everything. So maybe that's the dynamic. About painting, let me tell you, man, it really makes you want to say, let's paint, let's just do it already. But damn, I think that right now the car looks so beautiful and it's so cool with these flaws just the way it is. And I think that's what an old car is, right? You also have to accept some of these flaws and enjoy it. I see, you know, I go everywhere. I see a lot of perfect cars, you know, from sponsors who have already been here at Pingando Oleo. We know that the cars really look beautiful after a well-done restoration, but man, I waited so long for this moment that I think now it's really time to enjoy it, you know? One interesting thing that Carla, who did the detailing, talked to me about, she and Booby, one day when I wasn't there, they were talking about the safe. Right, because Carla came here and did some cleaning too. She got rid of a lot of the dust that was here. And Booby thinks that what happened here was the following. That maybe the battery came loose, splashed, the battery acid exploded, and that's why it burned. It rusted the engine here with all the water, the acid that splashed from here to there. That's why it looks like there's this rust like this on this blue part of the engine, much more on this side than here, you know? So they mentioned this theory, and I'll tell you, it kind of makes sense, right? It could be that this is what actually happened. This part was painted, right? It was the paint job the car got at some point. But even so, all right. Working fine, checked, passed the test. Right, the radiator here. Demetrio also checked the alternator. The car's running great, man. It's amazing how smooth it is now. And we didn't even have to mess with the radiator or the carburetor, even though we cleaned them in those other videos, right? There's not much left to do. And I wanted to know from you, what else would you still do right away to this car to make it even better? It could be visual, mechanical. What would you do here to make it even cooler? Its drivability for me is like this. Since I haven't had much contact with a car like this, not even when I was a kid, not as a teenager either. My father sold this car really early. We never had another one like it, except for this week when this one came back to me. The first thing you notice is the gear shift on the steering column. It's super easy, super smooth. But the coolest thing, man, is shifting into third gear and how third gear is versatile and long. In many situations, whether the engine is at low or high revolutions per minute, you don't need to downshift to second gear. Man, I thought that was just... It's a completely different way of driving from the 4-speed gearbox down below. Because the car doesn't make you want to drive it in a rough way, right? Shifting gears quickly, wanting to keep revving, downshifting. It's such a smooth thing that even your own pace slows down. Even your rush, as a guy from Sao Paulo, even your rush feels different. The way you drive, the way you handle things, right? With the car, yeah, it becomes something lighter, smoother. You don't fight with the car. Shifting gears is smooth. Third gear, it's so versatile that it stretches out in versions in situations where you're at low revolutions per minute or high revolutions per minute, especially on the highway. I thought that was, man, fantastic, because you don't have to keep downshifting. You don't really have to be dealing with the vehicle all the time, So third gear, it allows you, man, to be on a hill and you can stay in third. You don't have to keep downshifting. I found it to be so versatile. I'm going to say something silly here. Sometimes it's so smooth and so nice that it feels like you're in an automatic car. You just leave it in third gear and keep going. And those steering adjustments, they're so short and so smooth. The steering wheel is so light, man. This here is infinitely more comfortable than the Goal that I use every day. For example, when I drive the Goal over a road reflector, those cat's eyes on the street or avenue, the Goal's dashboard rattles, everything shakes. With this one, you don't feel anything, man. It's something really impressive. You guys might say, man, but damn, what a boring conversation. Man, it's been surprising to discover this, testing this one now with ours. I know a lot has already been said about this out there, everyone knows, but when you come from C10, Doge, other cars, right, Opala, when you drive this here, something you can call your own, take it and enjoy, drive. Damn, man, it's really crazy. The other times I drove with Demetrio there, when he let me drive, I drove, but I drive kind of with a bit of caution, being careful with other people's cars. You don't really have the hang of it. There are little tricks you need to learn in a day or two. Man, here we already, since yesterday I've been driving around. Today I said, I need to go there, I need to record, I need to take a ride in this thing. When I woke up, I opened my living room and saw the car there. I couldn't believe it and questioned myself. I said, my God, why did you buy this? Man, when you go for a drive, everything feels new and right. Man, the way the car handles. Let me tell you, huh? That's cool. Thanks to everyone watching. Thank you to the whole team of Demetrio over at Z28. Those were some really great months. We had a lot of fun there building cars.
Are you selling it or not?
No, I'm not selling it. He already wants to take my car. So huge thanks to Demetrio at the shop. Now let's focus on the F100. And let's see what we can gradually improve here.